What would a hawk mean in a dream? Having a hawk land on your hand and dig its claws into your hand. Let's have a look. This dream comes from Jenny. She says, I have for years had dreams of all kinds of animals come to me and talk to me. I had a dream of a hawk last night. While I was on a Ferris wheel, I saw it perched looking at me. I put my hand out and he landed on me. But when he did, his claws locked into my hand. I felt the sting, but then I looked in his eyes. His eyes got big and we started to communicate telepathically. I felt like I was in a bit of a trance. He said, you look familiar, like I know you from somewhere. Then asked if I knew the lady who lived in my house before me. I said no. I know there was more said, but I can't remember. But this Ferris wheel was in my backyard. My husband was trying to tell my family, look, there is a hawk on her hand. Yeah, the Ferris wheel doesn't stand out. There's a hawk on her hand. None of them cared to look, but the hawk stayed with me for a good 5 minutes, observing my family with me as they were having fun activities like in their own world. I felt a sense of protection with this hawk. When he flew away, he flew so fast, like lightning. I felt his claws retract and the sting gone. My skin was a bit like a scratch was left. When the claws retracted, the sync with him broke. I then got off the Ferris wheel. What does it mean? Well, Jenny, here we go. You're holding on to pain from the past. That's what the backyard is about. And then the pain in your hand. Backyard's about the past. Pain in your hand is about pain in your life that you're holding on to because it's in your hand. The intention of the dream is to heal you of karma. And the karma is given by the Ferris wheel, which represents karma because a Ferris wheel goes nowhere. It's just a circle to nowhere, a ride that takes you nowhere, just back to where you started. And then the reference to 5 minutes, which is how long the hawk observed you and your family. So 5 is the number for karma. It's where we learn about ourselves through the 5 senses. And we learn through experiences that happen to us rather than us embracing life and doing things that we know we need to do. The karma has to do with your family. We know that because the family is what's in the backyard with you. And then that's what you have to overcome. The lack of attention and care from your family. In words, your words, you say about your family, none of them cared. Now, I hope for your sake you didn't tell your family to tune into the show today because you sent a dream in. That would be awkward. But apart from that, the dream is telling you about all your gifts. And I don't mean to gloss over the other thing. That's obviously a pain in your life. And it's definitely something you need to deal with. And it's what I do. It's what I talk about all the time. In fact, I'm doing a webinar in June, early June. June starts tomorrow. If you're on my list, if you download my dictionary, you'll get details about that webinar. It's free. And we can talk about more of it there. So anyway, we see a lot of your gifts. I really love this dream. It's a short dream and it has so many gifts. First of all, you can communicate telepathically. Well, obviously, because that's what you do in the dream, talking to the animal. And you said before that you have many dreams where animals come to you. And I've said this on the show before. Normally, people who have this gift, they have dreams where they touch foreheads with the animal. So have you ever done that, where you've touched foreheads with the animal? Because it works through the brow chakra. Anyway, you've got the ability, whether you have done that or not before. You're also clairvoyant because you talk about the eyes on the hawk. And eyes are to do with getting images and movies. When you talk to your guides, they talk back to you through images and movies. And you have to learn how to deal with that, how to interpret that. In fact, the meaning of those images is the exact same meaning as images and scenes in dreams. So learn how to interpret dreams and you will get a big advantage to how to understand this clairvoyant imaging you also get. And yes, you can trance channel because you say it in the dream. You said I was in a kind of a trance. And of course, you say another indicator that is common with trance. You mentioned a lightning retraction at the end. And I've seen this. I've seen it start and I've seen it end. And I've talked about this on the show before. My wife is a huge fan of Esther Hicks. I love her too. And she eventually got me to go to one of her live shows. And I was looking at her aura to see what would happen. And you can see this lightning connection right just before she starts talking. I mean, there isn't even a second. Some people, they get the connection first and then they think about things and so on. But most channels, as soon as the spirit's in all the way, and it looks, from the outside, it looks like you've been tasered. This thing has shot into you and connects typically where I've seen it and where I've actually felt it myself, is just like below the ear or into the voice box. But anyway, it's interesting. You mentioned that super fast, and it is super fast. And you talk about the pain of it, and initially there can be a lot of pain with it, excruciating even at times. And that's something, though, trance channels overcome, the discomfort in the body. Anyway, what else have you got? You're also prophetic, and we get that from the Ferris wheel. Yes, it means karma, but it also, because of the height of a Ferris wheel, it's going to give you a great view when you're up at the top. You have the ability to see what's coming in the future. And no surprise, the hawk also means that too, because a hawk, from its vantage point in the sky, can see everything around it. And actually, in a dream, you only need to see 180 degrees. If you have an 180 degree view, then it indicates prophecy. Not many people have the gift of prophecy, so it's not that common. And people don't need it, because if you can channel, then your guides can tell you what's coming, so you don't need the gift. But you've got the gift itself, which is really cool. And it works. It's one of those gifts that you never have to turn on. It just works whenever it wants to. So if you meet somebody, you'll know whether they're going to be good for you in your life, or whether a job that you're thinking of applying for is something you must do or not. And other times there'll be nothing. You won't get any information whatsoever, and you're like, it's broken. Why isn't it telling me? Well, there are the times when it doesn't matter. So when it's really important, that gift just kicks in. A lot of people don't like it, but that's just kind of silly. The hawk asks you if you remember the woman who lived in this house before. Basically, the hawk is asking you if you remember your last lifetime, and he's asking you to wake up. You mentioned your family were in their own world. So this is the influence they have on you. You're in your own world. The guide wants you to wake up from that. And yes, the hawk is a guide. And it is now time for you to wake up. So that's basically it. It's a great dream. Very short, very succinct, but very punchy in the message, the whole list of gifts. Like, you're also a healer. We know you're a healer because the huge reference to your hand in the dream. So you're a hands-on healer as well. So what is that we've got? If I look over this, prophetic, hands-on healer, clairvoyant channel, telepathic channel, and trance channel. Well, that's all three different ways of channeling. But it's interesting you've got all those different ways. One will win out over the other, but most people who can do it, they really prefer the trance channeling. And that's because you get out of your own way with the trance channeling, and you can ask questions that you have no idea about the answers to. And it's you're not trying to interpret symbols or interpret something else and figure it out. You're just told flat out, this is what it is. And so it's really worth going after. And for you to go after it, you've got to deal with the pain from your past connected to family. Very clear. Thank you for watching this clip from the Dream Interpretation Podcast. If you want to hear the whole show, there's a link directly under this video. Please like and share with your friends, all of your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast at thedreaminterpretationpodcast.com. That's also where you can submit your dream to the show and have yours featured. You can also download my free dictionary that has thousands of symbols that will help you understand the meaning of your dreams. Thanks for listening.